Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 11 of Rannoch, our vanilla Boreal build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I've just been enjoying a wonderful view to the recently named Kila Salai mountain range, courtesy of Phoenix in our Patreon community. Absolutely perfect name, isn't it? I will leave the niche Mass Effect lore aficionados to decipher, of course, what Kila Salai is, but otherwise, welcome back everyone. Welcome back indeed to our wonderful Boreal build. I'm really enjoying building out Rannoch at the minute, and last episode we started our very slow crawl to what will eventually become our high density district. However, today I'd actually like to pop back over to the high density area we built, because we had a couple of suggestions. I didn't realise that there is a stop sign on this roundabout, which is causing quite a lot of traffic issues, so let's remove this. We did have a comment about this during the episode, did not realise that was there. So hopefully that should help that flow a little bit easier now, because they were just stopping so often here. There's still quite a few pedestrians crossing there, isn't there? Maybe even scope for more elevated or sunken tunnels to get them over. But it is flowing a little bit better now. Hopefully this backlog should start clearing up at least. But very nice indeed. Lots of walking around here, isn't there? Very, very nice to see. Elevated networks getting used as well. But either way, full stop. Appreciating past builds. Today I want to work on this space to build what is essentially going to be a custom botanical garden, which will be a really nice park space. So I mentioned that I did want to kind of realign and shift this train station a little bit closer toward the water. So let's time lapse that up and then we'll get stuck into a custom botanical garden and see how, shall we? Fantastic, so that just moves that a little bit further along as our trains continue to bypass when they don't stop. And that just tidies up this area a little bit more. Cool, so let's remove some of these initial frames. But I definitely want to keep this road in here because I'd like to give people the ability to pass over this level crossing. So I'm going to enjoy that. And now we can begin to form our botanical garden. So of course the primary asset we're going to use here is the botanical garden itself. So let's just have a look where we want to kind of orientate this build from. Maybe, I think we'll actually kind of freehand it. Let's come into kind of the largest space. Maybe we can have it kind of face on the corner here actually. We can get a straight 45-degree road happening there. That actually might be quite tasty. Let's dive into park assets. We're going to of course use the Botanical Garden, which if you didn't know, Early Egg pronounced this as Biotanical Garden for years. Let me tell you, the YouTube comments and the Discord never ever lets me forget about it. I think it is forever Biotanical Garden, isn't it? So that's going to be quite a nice centerpiece there. I'm happy with that. And then essentially we want to fill the back end of this, well, what is essentially going to be a custom park. And I guess we can actually draw a park area over this because I quite like to use some of the nature reserve stuff in this build as well today. So I'm going to give that a full box around with the dirt pathway here. And then let's start bringing off some little roads here. Maybe we can start to hold more park assets and then some more custom areas as well. So back into our park stuff, in terms of what could feature in a botanical garden, I'm definitely after more exotic style things today. So things like tropical gardens are always very welcome. So why don't we have that one there? I think I'm quite a fan of that. And then what's that, like kind of 5 tiles deep, is it? So could we possibly pin one of these again directly behind? I'm actually going to go a little bit further because what I would like to do is just to kind of help give the impression that this is a kind of big open walkable garden where people can explore kind of different flowers and biomes, if you like. It's just to have some walking pathways between the assets. Cool. I'd rather encourage as much walking in this area as possible. But obviously we're having to use dirt roads to attract, well, to actually hold the assets, so they can be serviced and whatnot. But I would also like to try and avoid as many cars in this build as possible. Which is obviously easier said than done, isn't it? Cool. So we can have these tropical gardens at the back here. Now what we could also do is bring in some of those similar tree palettes. So let's jump into our vanilla tree selection. And what have we got here? It's just basically all the flower trees, isn't it? And then where we do have a lot of these spaces, we can just kind of accentuate the designs here. They even try to create little sort of custom planters with the pathways. So as this spreads off around, we can fill this with various different colourful trees. And then as we complete this pattern around the edge of the build, we should be left with little extensions of the tropical garden that'll really help blend it all together. So we can do lots of this during our D10 channels, right? Really kind of expand each tropical asset, if you like, is the thinking behind that anyway. We'll hope to. Cool, so that's one asset down. See what else we've got to play with. I think the Japanese garden would also be quite welcome here as well, wouldn't it? I really do like these assets. I love the walls on them. I think they are very nice. Could possibly include some unique buildings in here as well, actually. There is, of course, the old bird and bee haven. This is a fan favourite, isn't it, the bird and bees? There's also the lungs of the city, which I'm not sure we have unlocked yet. We do, yeah, they are here. Definitely one of the more awkward assets to use, I think, isn't it, the lungs? But I think if there's a place to get it in, it's going to be in this custom botanical garden, isn't it? And of course, we are using the redwoods in Rannoch's forest palette too, so if they blend into any map, it's going to be a Boreal one, isn't it? And to be honest, it's not kind of too intrusive right there, is it? I'm not sure if we can perhaps align it a little bit better. I'm not sure if that's quite centered, but the whole flow there from kind of the little gate of the lungs of the city into the tropical gardens, I'm a big fan of. God, I wish we had these little water planters as ploppable props. That'd be great, wouldn't it? What a shame they never made it into vanilla. Yeah, it'd be really cute if we could plop them, wouldn't it? Yeah, okay. I think we'll go for the lungs of the city then. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Now, with our Japanese garden, I'd quite like to try something a little bit quirky with these, to kind of create a bit of a internal walled garden, if you like. So let's come on with road length, and I want to make sure I can flip the Japanese garden around. Because obviously I kind of want everyone to enter through the main gate, if you like, rather than through this area. So then we can delete the side roads. Then we can come straight out here, up into there. I think if we place 2 more side by side, that should give us a pretty cool aesthetic down here. Maybe even we could align them kind of at corner to corner to create a bit more of a authentic walled space. Now they're using the cherry blossom trees here, which are actually in vanilla, and you can get them with Find It. For some ultimately strange reason, they were never added to the tree palette. Now I might just have to delete this one temporarily while we allow space for these ones on the side. And we can actually break the road connections there, and they do still remain connected, which is quite interesting, isn't it? I do like that configuration, but I think I do want the corners touching, so let's configure that. I think that's as good as I'm going to get it without Move It. It is extremely finicky, but I think that's what I want. I think I'm happy with that. Very cool. So we can connect these with just a single, and what's the closest we can go? So that connects all 3 of them, which is really cool. And then I guess we can do some much more custom spaces out here with some dirt pathway if we allow enough room for it. We just go out on our angle. Let's maybe do that way first. And I guess hopefully with a little bit of angle snapping we can create a bit of a garden. So do we have these in Find It? They do appear somewhere, I'm almost sure of it. They're called... Yeah, it's these here, cherry blossom tree. It's these ones that come with the asset, so we could even start having some fun with that. And kind of that similar process to what we were looking at with the tropical gardens of just expanding the tree palette around the asset to give that kind of illusion of expansion, if you like. And we can get some wild hedge in here as well. Maybe a little bit of roadie to complement here. Lots of fun to be had doing kind of custom expanded park spaces here. Can be quite a challenge in CS Vanilla as well. Cool. That really opens it up, doesn't it? Let's get some rocks in there as well. Feel like they'd be quite a welcome addition to a Japanese themed kind of Zen garden, is there? Very much the vibe here, isn't it? I'd actually love one of those little things for my desk, you know, where you can kind of manipulate the sand and just kind of, I guess, rake it, is there? Is what you do to it, isn't it? Get some cherry blossoms in there as well. Or jacarandas, sorry. Maybe some pines. More kind of exotic plants again is always the vibe here, isn't it? Something like that. Quite nice, that, isn't it? So we can just take just a simple Japanese garden asset, manipulate the road network in front of it to obviously allow service access, but then you just give yourself so much more detailable room that all of a sudden we have a much more expanded kind of Japanese walled garden. You could even, obviously, if you're on the PC, for God's sake, just play with Move It to align these. But I guess we could even come in next door there, couldn't we? And double it up again and keep that expansion going and pretend that, you know, maybe there was a little door through here to allow access into the other side of it. I wouldn't be against that. I think it's actually kind of cool. Yeah, maybe we do want to do that this side as well. I think the grids are slightly broken there, aren't they? So let's just redraw this road for a hot second here. Stick that back on road length. And hopefully now we can get that one in. Yeah, just about. Again, if you got to move it, just align it. You'll save yourself the headache sometimes of vanilla CS without those very basic quality of life improvements. Cool. I love that. That is the best bit of Rannoch so far. Very cute, but very effective, right? Big fan of that. Big fan. Oh, there is a ton of cars, isn't there? There really is. Is it possible to explore? I really wish they would have added kind of a more natural pedestrian road, you know, rather than just all these super kind of exotic ones. I mean, let's just have a look at it. There's a sandstone pedestrian road. Really, it's just too modern, isn't it? For like a botanical garden. I think it's just. You know, I want them to walk on dirt pathways, like up the earth, not this landscape stuff. Do the trees help it blend in? Maybe can we explore possibly having pedestrian roads? I mean, that kind of makes it a bit more tolerable. I won't lie. The big tree dividers do help. It's this aesthetic I really wanted to avoid. You know, I want this to be a custom garden and there's cars everywhere. It is an unfortunate symptom of vanilla, at which point then I think with that in mind, I think we will go for a pedestrian road setup. So I'm going to totally redraw that just to realign the nodes. There we go. And then I guess do we want to go grass for some places or do we want to keep the plant divider going the whole way? I'm not sure. We'll find out as we go. And maybe some more tasteful grass strips up there. We'll try and blend this in, but I think, you know, just for the aesthetic of having pedestrian roads here, this is definitely what I want. Is that going to remove a little bit of our detailing? It is, isn't it? I'll tell you what, in that instance then, I guess it's fine if we have dirt road here, isn't it? Because he won't be driving up this way anyway. But let's actually just leave that one as dirt. Don't think I hate that. Oh, he's not connected anymore now. Let's make sure that we draw that close enough. Okay, so of course we need a service point now as well then. So let's hop into pedestrian districts and we will have a service point here just by the rail line. And now we can paint this out. Fantastic. So in terms of trees, I really like the Palaven pines in them. I think I want quite a dominant tree here, you know. Something that really kind of overshadows, if you like. Palaven pines all the way around might be a little much. Maybe something quite tall, but still maybe a little more subtle. The Boreal pines aren't really that, are they? You go for those, or the Eastern Cottonwoods also do a nice job. Then again, if we're going to make it part of a custom botanical garden, maybe we could have different types of tree for each stretch of road. Maybe even palms. I know palms aren't really native to this biome, but you know, if they're an exotic plant, they'd go in the botanical garden, wouldn't they? Maybe we need to do some like rows of palms. I guess we'll see. Ideas are flourishing. We'll see what happens with it. Don't mind that though. Palms will probably trigger the palm police, I imagine. Guess we could also do some birch too. Birch would be quite welcome, I think. I don't know where we got. That's why we're distracted with that. So let's continue on with our venture. So that's most of kind of the vanilla parks in there, isn't it? In terms of like the tropical stuff. Oh, absolutely, the new pond that came with the update would also be super welcome here, wouldn't it? So why don't we definitely factor this into right in the heart of the build here. I do want that to connect into the road. So we'll make sure that the nodes are aligned for that to happen. Let's just ease out that curve there, shall we? And now let's have our pond park around here. Of course, which wants the extension of the pedestrian district. Now this one does have little snap nodes around it, doesn't it? Right, we can plug into this one at various points, although they're not always super obvious where they are for some reason. I have one there, for example, so people can walk off that way. Now hopefully that helps blend in our pedestrian roads a little bit. And just merge into a bit of a water feature here in the garden. Quite a nice little grill if you want to get something to eat as well. Yeah, I think that's quite an easy integration, that one, isn't it? I wouldn't mind one of these cute little sidewalk cafes as well, because I think these are very much the vibe we're after today. Place that on there. And I guess we can blend this into kind of the walkable pathways into the garden, can't we? It's like super strange how these pathways work with the gardens. It's almost like it was kind of a accidental programming almost. Like they didn't mean for it to actually have snap nodes, but it does. They're just in very awkward places, but it's okay. I can live with it. Watch that one over there as well. Make sure we've got the right skin on for this too. Definitely don't want the old brick, not in this area. I think the modern one is the better one, isn't it? There we go. What's it say on the front? More Ducks Coffee. Okay, so this is looking super sweet so far. I'm loving all the different blends of kind of exotic plants behind it. Very nice. And then I think that's really it for kind of ploppable assets. All this stuff's pretty beach specific. There is of course a ton of content creator stuff now as well. Maybe something from Africa in miniature would go well here. There is the Botanical Museum, which is like a crazy brutalist structure. It's a clash. I'll give it that. What was the actual description of this thing? Like, what is it supposed to be? A place for visitors to view exotic plants and ancient tropical animals from a bygone era. Like, that's exactly what I want to build here. But why is it so Soviet? It's like this is straight out of Workers and Resources, isn't it? It's just, I don't know, maybe it's obviously based off of something from Africa, is it? Either way, I don't think I can include it here. It's such a clash against the rest of the park. There is also the park monument from Africa in miniature, which is quite cute. I wouldn't mind having one of these. How would it blend in here if we can align the staircase to kind of feature as part of the park, maybe? Got some nice tropical plants on it as well. Really blends in. Not too bad here. I think it's maybe a little bit out on its own there, isn't it? How about we try and blend this into this area here? Maybe a touch more at home there, isn't it? Yeah, that bit of a quirky feature for the park. Does have slight kind of Soviet statue vibes again, doesn't it? But I can get away with it, I think. I know there's Railroad Japan stuff, probably not, so that leaves all the ploppable park stuff there. We can probably get away with some more of the quirkier, unique buildings from African miniature as well, but I think I'd rather save these for kind of maybe a zoo build. I want to get this one in. This one's not too bad either, but I think otherwise we'd just be trying to squeeze them in for the sake of it. I'd rather save them for somewhere else in the city right now. So that does it for buildings, but definitely not for park areas. So I'd love to have a look at possibly bringing in a nature reserve here. So this will be the first one of the city. The assets I'm really after are level 3 nature reserve, the lookout tower. So I'm thinking how we can function it is we're going to make this nature reserve part of the park, of course. So let's upgrade our 2-lane road friend here into dirt. And then here we'll place our gate. Let's do, I think, just a small one. I think the large one has like car parking out the front of it, doesn't it? Yeah. Just a small one is fine. And then I just want to blend this into the existing park infrastructure here. So no need for that one to sit there. Let's grab those nature reserve pathways. So you can just go off that way and then meet up with another one that comes out of here. Very much just want to blend this into the park here. Although I guess if I want to hit level 3, I shouldn't hook it in just yet because we do want this to level up. And of course, park gate users have to pass through the gate in order to level up. So we won't connect it in, but we will at the end. And then I'd love to have a little humpback bridge that carries you across the river delta. And then into these areas here, where we'll set up a number of little nature reserve attractions. So I don't really want camping here. It's not kind of that sort of nature reserve. Let's have park area just encompass this side of the island. So it's going to be really fun to start using some of these river delta islands for different projects. It's going to be mainly nature reserves, but I think a little further over towards the motorway, we can maybe do some forestry out here once we unlock these relevant land masses, I think. It'd be quite cool to have forestry aligned next to this highway, won't it? So like you kind of imagine, let's find a forested. So this bit, for example, like you're driving through like the wild, dense Boreal forest of Rannoch, where they built the highway. But then as you come past it, you actually pass by a little forestry commission in that wild, dense forest, where you can see it being processed. I think would be a very nice orientation from here, wouldn't it? So I expect forestry to arrive over there at some point as well. But the fact of the matter is we can use some really cool builds for this sort of area today. And in the future as well, of course. So, not particularly bothered where the pathway goes. Really just want to get the attractions down. So we've only got the tents at the minute as well, haven't we? So yeah, really just after the lookout towers. Possibly maybe a cabin or two as well. Probably not though. Again, I don't really want to give fishing cabins for sure. I don't really want to give the impression that people are sleeping here. This is obviously very much a part of the botanical garden, which we will name after one of our wonderful patrons today as well. And we will name this the Phoenix Gardens and Botanical after Phoenix, who it was that named the Kila Salai mountain range over there as well. Thank you so much for all your patrons support, Phoenix. Appreciate you, brother. Always love a name suggestion. Cool. So we need to fill this with attractions, basically. So for the time being, it is going to be Campfire City, accompanied by Tent City. So I just need the attraction value, really. That takes us to 250, and then let's just keep spamming them. Of course, obviously, this is just temporary. We just want to get that part level up, attract some visitors, which that should absolutely do. Could you imagine if I just did this? And that was like, thanks for watching, guys. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. And then just fire the cinematics off of this. Terrible, wouldn't it? Although, quite a good way to create a bit of a wildfire, isn't it? All these, like, what are these campfires burning with? It's just like, it seems to be firewood, but that flame is almost propane looking, isn't it? Like a gas burner. Either way, that will slowly level up, which feels like a good point for a detailing time-lapse, because we can now begin to detail up all this space while the park area does continue to level up, and then really blend this area into the district. Lots more finer detailing in all these little areas, bush lining and fencing where we want it. And also bring back some car parking that we had for the train station too. And just slightly rework how all this area sits up against the train station now we've moved it to. And they're also really nicely positioned near the school as well, isn't it? For just kind of general exploratory activities for the bambinos of the world, even though this school is full of adults for some reason. But either way, let's do some detailing, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little look around the Phoenix Gardens and Botanical, shall we? So, nice little landscaped entrance, mix and match of the various different trees. By the way, if you do have Find It installed, you can also get the fruit trees that are present on the farm fields, if you're wondering where these are from. They are vanilla assets, just, well, DLC assets available through Find It, rather. But this whole area has turned out really, really nicely. Now, let's explore around the grounds here. So I do place a zoo gate, just so we can place in the bird cage here. It's a slow flying bird, isn't it? It's almost like slow motion shot. Seems a little small for eagles as well, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure these are these bald eagles or golden eagles? Who knows? It's probably lost knowledge, isn't it? But either way, we do have a birdhouse in here. That is just hooked into the pedestrian path, which is proving to be extremely popular with visitors to the garden. Furthermore, our big kind of expanded tropical garden in the middle turned out super nicely. Mix and match of various different tropical looking trees in here almost creates a bit of kind of a tropical hedge maze, if you will, doesn't it? Kind of walking through here. But a really nice extension of those assets. Cool to see people kind of walking in and around it. A little bit of more exotic tree here in the bobo, and then it has kind of a sign next to it. And that just sticks up next to all this wonderful floral garden stuff and the monument here. It actually sits in really nicely, I think, with the rest of the build. Not sure where this goes, though. Doesn't go anywhere, does it? Is it supposed to come out there, maybe? I'm not sure. A nice little water feature on there, too, as well. So I'm really happy with that. Then our little Japanese gardens here. I ended up doubling them up to a really cool configuration. I can't really believe we've never thought about this before. With these little kind of like Zen gardens in here. That's what I was talking about. I didn't even realise it was there. Kind of those little sand Zen gardens. I want one for my desk. And then it comes out to the front, which is very cute. I really like what we've done out the front here. What Vanilla's all about, you know, kind of coming up with these small little intricate spaces around assets. You can make so much more of it, can't you? Unfortunately, someone has parts here. Really wish they wouldn't. But it's okay. We can just about deal with it, I think. And then we come over here. This links into the pathway that then goes over into the nature reserve. There's some light eatery detailing over here. There's some benches around, ice cream trucks and stands and stalls and whatnot. Places to enjoy in the big shadow of those redwoods. Across the nature reserve, this thing got crazy busy. Like, there was loads of people running into this. Trimmed up all those tents back, left in one of the campsites over here as well. So there is some infrastructure. And then there's multiple viewpoints around the island here as well. Maybe you can imagine this is a good spot for spotting bald eagles or indeed those vegan bears that are famous across Rannoch. So various bird watching towers. Also some viewpoints over here as well. Which is all just helping people, of course, actually come and use this nature reserve island, which is very nice. More so over here too. Whether it's overgrowth and rock details around the shorelines here too. I really like it. Nice little use of a pretty unusable space, to be honest. Just a kind of a random island like that. But I like the fact we managed to get some nature reserve assets. And we can do loads of different things with these island deltas as well. Many different sort of inspirations of what we can use. So I'm looking forward to really fleshing this area of the map out. It's going to be quite unique, isn't it, with all this water around it. So I'm super happy with that. Over here, our train station has just had some office zoned in next to, along with some commercial, as the front of the train station has been restructured. With a pathway heading back over, so you don't always have to use the level crossing down here. And then there's some commercial here with a little bit of detailing around the water tower that is present in this area. Next to the service point, just a little pathway down there to pretend it is kind of like some sort of service path for the water tower. With the train line being fully overgrown and fenced in where necessary. And this whole part of the city, to be honest, has turned out really nicely. I'm really liking how it looks. Over this way, around our park, we have dropped in some tables to extend of the tables here, which is quite nice, I think, just to give that extra seating space. And then some concrete plaza into a restroom, which is actually connected to the road here. And we just managed to switch it around, so it does actually count as a connection to have a little restroom here just on the entrance to the botanical garden here. Also with an airport apron down there as well. Lots of bush lining and extending of the trees around the pond, although someone's walking across the pond there. Is that Jesus? Is that Jesus? The second coming of Jesus in Rannoch, and it turns out that he's now a she. And he's also a cowboy. Who knew? So lots of people enjoying the pond here as well, which sits very nicely in the botanical garden, doesn't it? So super happy with this. And across this way, unfortunately there are a lot of cars around here, but people will pocket car, unfortunately. Lots of little combinations of these different parks. The gardens with the benches, there's another little pond through here as well. I just wanted to stitch a lot of them together because it's kind of like a much larger kind of communal garden and just sort of general open tropical plant and tree space here. Again, real shame we can't place these as planters, isn't it? That'd be great to build some custom vanilla planters. That looks like cabbage there as well, doesn't it? Never noticed that before. It's probably not, but it does look like cabbage. Little gazebo in combination with a dog park and then one of these birch parks, which then links into kind of a organic dirt pathway that takes you back out of the gardens and around behind the lungs of the city, where it does connect in here. Then around the lungs of the city, we've just drawn in more redwoods just to kind of break up the boxiness of it, which I think really helps, doesn't it? It really does kind of just give you an impression that it's not so square when you build up the trees around that area there. So I'm really happy with it. It's a very, very unique build and sits wonderfully on the corner of the street here as we enjoy and continue to build up this part of the city. Well, those guys, that will do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed this park build. There's nothing quite like trying to be creative in vanilla with these custom park spaces. You can be quite creative, as it turns out now, with a little bit of DLC in there as well in the form of plazas and promenades. And I really like what we put together here. A really cute little corner of the city. Massive shout out to all the patrons supporting the channel, with a special roll call to Louis Adlam and Oh Hey Casino. If you'd like to get involved in that, there are links down below to Patreon and Instant Gaming, where there's a whole more extra egg if you are interested in that. It's really nice to see how walkable this area of the city as well, isn't it, with trains and trolleybuses both feeding the need for public transport over this way. Super walkable, busy little park area. Super, super happy with it. Otherwise, please do enjoy some cinematics of the ever-expanding Rannoch bottle shop and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much indeed for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.